Welcome to the new KX tutorial. This time we will visit the KX user interface and we will go through every option there is currently in KX. We are also visiting some features which are grayed out to prevent the very often asked question where the ESP is. Thank you very much. Let's begin. First things first, we are logging into KX. Now we have the KX Trainer V2 starting menu. We have at first the main window where we have some few options like fly speed settings, the climb angle and the invis value. For invis there will be coming a whole tutorial only for the invis because many players are currently on this time of this recording at least getting bans or getting a few problems, getting suspensions from the game because they are either not using the feature probably or don't know how to use it probably, and so on and so on. So we will fix that. First things first, we have also the button open teleports, which we will come to in a second. We have the other options at the bottom. Currently they are off. We have their air swim and infinity jump / no fall damage, which we will come in a second to. We will start with climb walls. When enabled, when the feature is enabled, we can just run basically a wall up without doing anything. So let's click it and go somewhere where people are not looking. For example, we can do that. See? We can simply run up a wall. Just like this. See? And now we are outside. Easy. That is a climb walls. It's a feature I used in the beginning of KX when it's launched. Just because I found it's a funny feature, but nowadays I don't use it that often. But I would say it has its good points for some reasons, because sometimes you could need it. It's cool to use, I have to say. It's still cool to use it in this video, of course, and yeah, it's a nice feature. Then we have invisibility, which we are not talking about in this video because it's getting a whole because it's getting another video for itself. Then we have the airwalk feature. Airwalk basically has two modes, the normal mode and the fall mode. The normal mode is simply when you are in air, you can run, you can use skills and so on. Then we have the fall mode. When selected the fall mode, with every move you make, now. Sometimes the feature is a little bit buggy. When Crixus sees this, he knows. This is the fall mode, which basically is just as if you would fall, but in a single place. Normally, when you are falling, it looks like this. Whee! Plunge, dead. And this is the mode for that normally. So you have two modes to choose from. And as you can see, I'm currently in the fall mode, but it's not registering that. So sometimes it's a little bit buggy, so don't worry. It's normal. Then we have the fly speed, the climb angle and the invis value. Those are coming later. First, we are opening the other options down here. We have air swim. With that option enabled, you can swim in the air. Just like that. It's a pretty cool feature, but you have to look out, because when people see you, yeah, you know what happens. Then we have the infinite jump, no fall damage. You can see, you can press jump again and again and again. And when you're falling, you get no damage. But remember, you can't open your glider while having this option enabled. There are certain ways to open the glider, but this is not the tutorial for that. So, basic info, you can't use a glider. What you can do, on the other hand, is getting on your mount. But don't forget, when you're on the mount, it can be a little bit wacky. So unless you know what you're doing, don't use that. You can run on your mount, you can jump once, and then you are fucked. See? Now you will have to disable the option. So you have to be a little careful with this option when you are riding your mount. But also, you can make pretty funny stuff with this option. So, yeah. That is that. It's also useful when you are porting like a crazy madman and don't want to die from, let's say, a port which is high up and then the next port is very, very down there, let's say. Because when the game registers you are jumping, but no, of course you are porting from just one port to another. The game registers you are jumping, you will get the fall damage. Trust me on that. And you will also die if the fall damage is high enough, okay? So be careful with that. So infinite jump, no fall damage is awesome. See? Easy. Now we are going over to the sprint menu. The sprint menu is for the option sprint and super sprint. We have here also the options legit and normal. The legit mode is when it's enabled. You all only have the sprint boost. As you can see here, you can change it to your liking. You only have the sprint boost while being not in combat. Once you enter the combat state, your speed or your running speed is set to normal again. Once you leave the combat mode, you will be getting faster again. So that is the legit mode. The normal mode doesn't give a fuck, you are always this fast. So the super sprint is kind of the same, so we don't have to talk about that. Let's go to the MISC section. There we have some grayed out options like no fog and radar. These options were previously in KX, but since they broke a few updates ago, they were removed currently and are being replaced like the ESP. It's also grayed out, we will see later. Or you can't see it because it's not in here, but the ESP has its own unique, separate, let's say, program. It got updated to V2. And is now standalone, so it's not inside KX anymore like before, or like 2 or 3 years ago, and is now standalone. That is also the reason why no fog and radar are disabled, because they are not working currently. The let's say the field of view changes, the options are also inside of the ESP V2. That's also the reason why they are grayed out. The radar function is currently not available, and that's the reason why it's grayed out. Then we have the option better movement. Better movement is simply that you have the same speed as running forward, as to the left, to the right, and behind. So you are always the fastest in any direction. See? So you are not getting slower. See, normally you will go backwards like that. With better movement enabled, you are a little bit faster. Then we have the clipping option and the object clipping. The object clipping is simply you can clip through. Okay, not a good example. The object clipping is normally for just to go through a mountain, for example, or through a wall, or through a ground type area, something like that. The clipping option is the full clip. You will fall through everything, basically, just to differentiate. So that is the difference. It's good for basically everything you can imagine with it. So nothing to talk about that. Then we have the window options, which are for KX-Trainer V2 window. Always on top is, I think, self-explanatory. So minimize to tray is also. Opacity is just, you can, as you can see now right now on screen, you can change it a little bit. Then we have the hotkeys section, which we previously talked about in another tutorial video. But basically, this is every function in the game use in the KX-Trainer, sorry. And you can here and here you can basically select new hotkeys. Then we have the config area, the config menu, which previously or currently, let's say that, has the default one, which I only use. I don't need anything else. I simply save my hotkeys to the default one and use only that. You can also create your own configs and save them there. But remember, the default one will always be the one which will load it once starting KX. If you want to change that, you can click on the button Set as Default in this window. And this is it for the config menu. Now we are going to the teleports window. We open that one, and as you can see, we have a new window open right now. Here we have a few more options. First of all, we have the teleports window, we have the map making window, and we have the MISC window, with also an option for always on top, the opacity level, and a custom teleport, which you can simply create or type different values in and teleport to this location you currently entered. And yeah, that's basically the custom teleport for you. Then we have in the map making window, the window I personally use the most, which is to create new files, new ports, to fix stuff, to delete stuff, everything, the good stuff. And we also have here a button for the advanced view. Normally, when you start with the map making, you only see the personal window, because to prevent stuff from happening to your maps folder. When you click the advanced view, you see every file you have in your KX folder. So if you're a beginner, you have always the option like this. So you don't mess around with your maps folder, deleting stuff, and you didn't see it or you don't know. And later you are asking questions and we can't help you because we don't know what you did. So we have also the feature autosave selected file. I always click this box because when you forget, you have to redo everything. So let's say you wanna start doing something in Ratazum, for example, and you wanna change something in the POEs, for example. Then I always click the advanced view, I click the autosave selected file, then we have new tele and selected teleport buttons. The new tele button is simply when you wanna add a new teleport. Let's say test, for example, and we click on save. Now we have saved this teleport where I'm currently standing to the POE file. So when we click on selected teleport, you can click on a random teleport in this menu. We are changing the position. And now the cool thing about that is you can change the selected teleport simply by saving to the new location you just went to. So as you can see, we had previously another coordination, but now we have the currently standing location. saved to the 20th. You can also just save the name. That is also possible by simply calling it like this and click on the rename button instead of the save button, so you only rename it and without changing the configs. Let's port over there, for example, and let's call the file test3, and we only click on rename. Watch, the coordinates didn't change. That is for the select teleport, but we will change back and go to the next one. Now what we can do is also delete stuff. Like for example the test port we also did. We go back to selected teleport, select the test one and click on clear. Now we deleted the one. Also don't forget to always change back to new teleport, because you don't want to change the ports which are currently also in this file. Then we have the option to create a completely new file also by simply naming it test, click on create, and then you can select which folder. This is the maps folder, Tyria and Ratazum, and then you click on save, and you would have created a new file. Basically that's it for the map making window. Let's switch over to the teleports window. There we have the current map selection. We have a search bar. We have auto move, loop teleports, shuffle teleports, load, unload, previous, next, auto teleport, the intervals, and refresh files. Let's start with the current map feature. Currently we are in Ratazum. When you freshly open it, the window, it looks like this. When you are clicking on the current map, which is highlighted blue, with the left mouse button, the program always opens up for you the selected or the highlighted map, which is currently Ratazum. Sometimes it can happen when another folder is called like Ratazum ABC, for example, it will open that folder. Simply just click again and you will have this folder you need open. Then we have the search function, which you can also use to search for something like Ratazum, for example. And there you have it. You can also simply manually search for a map by clicking on the icons you see on screen right now and open up the folder manually, just like that. The refresh files I already press is, as you could see right now the previous times, it's refreshing to the start again. So basically if you have everything open and you don't know shit where you are, you can always press refresh files to go back to the starting point. Then we have the auto move feature, the loop teleports, and the shuffle teleports. Auto move is simply a feature which allows you to auto move between the ports to prevent the bug we talked about in another video. Then we have the loop teleports function. When enabled, it will allow you, let's say for the Ratazum POEs, once you reached the end of the file, just like that, you can just press again next teleport and you are already at the start of the file again. That is pretty useful for files like race files or harvesting files, or files which basically are, no, let's not say files, let's say for events which needs to be done multiple times, so you don't have to always press again on the POE file, start again. So loop teleports always loops every teleport in the file, in the current file. Then we have the option shuffle teleport, which came with the latest updates, with the latest update by Krix, which allows you basically to shuffle a whole file for you. That came up because of the harvest files. Some people were like, the files or the ports, the locations are too, let's say they are too near each other. They were not far enough for them, so they got a little bit scared because of Ben Hammer. And when you enable this file, or this option, sorry, and you double click it, the file will always be shifted and shuffled again. So you don't have a problem with that. When you disable the button and click on the POEs again, it is normally like it was before. So you don't have to get scared because of the file is now shit. And you can always reset it to the beginning like this. Then we have the load and the unload buttons. They are currently just to load a file and to unload a file. Let's say we are now at POEs, we don't want them. We click on unload and the file is unloaded. We click on vistas and click on load, the file gets loaded. That are those buttons. Previous and next is simply the same as next and previous teleport. You can click on next to go to the first one, and previous, or no, again next and then previous to go to the previous location. Easy. Then we are coming to the auto teleport function. The auto teleport is simply just to automate stuff, as the name suggests. Let's say we want to port every 1.2 seconds. And there's also a hotkey for that, so you can check the hotkey section for that. Let's find it. There it is, auto teleport. You can select a button for that. Let's call it numpad 0 for this example. And now when you press numpad 0, the teleport or the KX file will, the KX tool will port you automatically every 1.2 seconds to the next file, to the next teleport. You can also change the value while you are teleporting, so you don't have to worry about that. As you can see, we are teleporting. Now we are at the end of the file. You can also change in minutes or in seconds. And the refresh file function, we already talked about that. And I would say that are all functions except for the inverse value. This will get another tutorial video, but that's it for this video. Bye.